it's much the case, there's a lot of folks that are putting out these opportunities for providing capacity building, right, for underserved organizations. The EPA has put out a ton of funding to do that. They're called hubs. I think our concern is that those grant programs will end, and when they end, then what happens to the community that was built? So we're hoping that we can create a more sustainable model that's constantly active and constantly bringing in information about engagement that's happened with agencies, and using public information to update that automatically. So you're not always waiting. Did this project get implemented? What happened with this project? Not everyone can go to all the council meetings. Not everyone can go to every committee meeting. So giving an opportunity for like engagement to continue going after like what we often see of the grant cycle, right? These big waves of a project, and then we lose it, and then we have to recreate it again. So that's our ultimate goal, is to try to not have these big gaps in opportunities and understanding, where community fits in when the grant funding ends, but providing like a bridge and support through the process. And we have done a good bit of research around the engagement platforms out there. One of the big ones is Bang the Table, which is an interesting name, but they've been out there for a little bit. I think one thing that they haven't worked on, and I've worked both in nonprofit advocacy work, and I've also worked in government work. So I've kind of been often that like bridging those gaps in the ways that I'm possibly able to. But things that are missing are things like, really kind of that continued engagement, because often the challenge with those platforms is they're contract based. So they go to a single government agency, they get a contract to run for like, during a community planning process, which may be 2 years. And then the platform often isn't funded after that. So we're trying to find another model that creates more sustainable, renewed funding, and that connects, agency work that's out there, right? Like, so say the city of Oakland is doing something, and then the OUSD is doing something, but they're not usually like talking to each other. So how do you have that in one space? And that is where AI can be used. It can go out there and scrape these meetings that they're having and put it into one place. It's still under development, so we would definitely want to hear like what your concerns are and what your opportunities that you see.